Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to see about the exception handling in Java. So what exactly exception is? So it can be defined as an abnormal event that occurs during the execution of a program and disrupts the normal flow of instruction. An abnormal event can be error in the program. So normally exception is nothing but a kind of error which occurs during the execution of a program. So how do you define an error? Error is nothing but a mistake done by the user. It may be while typing the program, it may be during the execution of a program, it may be during, or it may be logical error in the program. So errors in the Java are categorized into two groups. One we call it as a compile time errors. The compile time errors are nothing but the errors which occur in the program during the compilation of the program. For example, syntactical errors are also called as compile time errors. For example, missing the semicolon at the end of the statement, misspelling the keyword, not following the syntax of the looping, branching, etc. So these all belong to the compile time errors. So another kind of error which occur in a Java program is called as a runtime errors. Runtime errors are also called as logical errors. So these logical errors are nothing but the mistake done in the code of the program. These are called as runtime errors. So exception can be defined it as a runtime error that occurs during the execution of a Java program. So examples of the exceptions are or a runtime errors are divide by 0. If you divide any element by 0, it gives the value as infinity. So that is an example of a runtime error. Running out of memory, resource allocation errors, inability to find files, problems in network connectivity. So these all types of examples are nothing but the exceptions or the runtime errors. So exception handling technique. So once the runtime error occurs in a program, we need to handle it carefully. Otherwise, your system may crash. So to handle this exception in a Java, we are going to use the 5 keywords: try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. So the syntax of exception handling statements are: first we need to include the try, which is nothing but a block in which we have to include a statement which may give you a runtime error in the program, followed by a catch statement. Catch takes a one parameter of type exception. Here we need to handle the exception by displaying some error message over here. Then finally is nothing but a block. Even though your program gives you a runtime error or not, the statements which are included in a finally block are going to be executed. So what is a try block? The Java code that you think may produce an exception is placed within a try block for a suitable catch block to handle the error. Catch block. Exceptions thrown during execution of the try block can be caught and handled in a catch block. On exit from a catch block, normal execution continues and the finally block is executed. A finally block is always executed regardless of the cause of exit from the try block or whether any catch block was executed. Let's see an example of exception handling technique which includes the try and a catch block. So here we have declared a one array. Name of the array is a of type integer, and the size of the array we have defined it as a 2. So that statement is nothing but int a, so pair of a single square bracket equal to new int 2. So this is nothing but array declaration. Now in the same try block we are trying to access the third index of the array element which has not allocated. So this is a kind of an exception, and this exception is called as array index out of bound exception. So once the statement is executed in a try block, immediately it jumps to the catch block where it is going to match the type of exception it has thrown in a try block, and based on that the execution takes place. So if you see, the output of the program is exception thrown java.lang.array index out of bound exception, which is 3 out of block. Out of block is nothing but a statement after the catch block. So this is a output of the example. Now in a program, instead of having a one catch statement, we can include multiple catch statements. A try block can be followed by multiple catch blocks, and the syntax for that is like this. We need to include a try block first, then followed by any number of catch blocks. As I have already told that catch takes a one parameter of type exception, so it's exception type 1, E1 is object of that, exception type 2, E2 is object of exception type 2, exception type 3, E3 is object of exception type 3. So this is a syntax of a multiple catch statement. So we'll see an example of a multiple catch statement. If you see here, so we are executing here a command line argument concept in which during the execution of a program we need to pass some parameters, and based on the parameters the execution of the program takes place. So int a is equal to args.lang. Suppose if we do not pass any parameter during the execution of the program, then the value of a will be 0. So system.out.println a is equal to 0 will be displayed to you. Int b is equal to 50 divided by a. Int c is equal to 1. So now this is a try block, and we have included two catch blocks over here. One is arithmetic exception, another is a array index out of bound exception. So if you see, the output of the program is what? As we have not passed any parameter during the execution of the program, so the value of a is equal to 0. Int b is equal to 50 divided by a. So means you are trying to divide an element by 0, which will throw you arithmetic exception. And int c is equal to 1. Here you are trying to access the element of an array which is out of bound, so it throws array index out of bound exception. So the output of the program is divided by 0, array index out of bound. So like we can include the multiple catch statements, we can include the try statements within another try block, which we call it as a nested try statements. The try blocks may be written independently, or we can nest the try block within each other. That is, keep one try catch block within another try block. So this is what exactly the syntax: try, then the number of statements within a try. We have included another try, followed by immediately a catch block, then end of the outer try block, followed by the catch statement. We'll see an example of this. Here, two integer variables we are passing as an argument to the program during the execution. So here in Java, whatever the parameter you pass it during the execution of a program will be considered as a string type. So we need to convert that string type of a data into the integer. So the syntax is like this: integer dot parse int argument s of 0. Argument s of 0 is nothing but the first parameter which you are passing it to the program, which is considered it as a string type. We are going to convert it into the integer, and whatever this parse int class is there, that we call it as a wrapper class. So like that, another parameter we are going to pass it. We are trying to divide the value of a by b. and based on that we are going to display the output. So here, suppose the value of a b is a 0, we passed it, then it is going to show you the arithmetic type of exception. So for that we have included a catch block, arithmetic exception, and suppose whatever the type of parameter you're going to pass it, instead of integer, suppose you pass it to the floating point and you are trying to convert it into an integer, then it throws the number format exception. So it is incorrect argument type. So based on that, it is going to show you the output of the program. So here, suppose the first run of the Java program where we are going to pass the 3 parameters 2, 4, 6. And based on that, we are going to display the output. So as we have passed the 3 integer types of values, based on that, it is not throwing any kind of exception. Now suppose second run of the program 24AA, which is a string type of a data, and I am trying to convert it into the integer. So based on that, it throws you the number format exception, in which we have displayed output it as incorrect argument type. Third one, so same program, if you run it for the third time and suppose the value of a b you are passing it as a 0, then it throws you arithmetic exception, and based on that it shows you the output as divide by 0. Next, a throw statement. So we have seen 2 keywords, one is a try block, another is a catch block. The third keyword which we are going to use it in exception handling is a throw. Throw keyword is used to throw an exception explicitly. Only object of throwable class or its subclasses can be thrown. Program execution stops on encountering throw statements, and the closest catch statement is checked for matching type of exception. So the syntax of a throw is throw throwable instance. So we'll see how to throw an exception. For that, we need to create the object of a throwable class. So there are 2 possible ways to get an instance of a class throwable: using a parameter in a catch block, or creating an instance by using the new operator like this, new null pointer exception, and to which you can pass any type of value. Here is an example. So we have defined a method called as the average, which is going to throw an exception called as an arithmetic exception, to which we have passed a parameter of type string, its demo. Then a try should be followed immediately by a catch block, that is catch arithmetic exception, exception caught. And we have defined a main function in which we are going to call that average. So based on that, it throws an instance of arithmetic exception which is successfully handled using the catch statement.